Good afternoon. Welcome to another session of Vision 2020 Career Counseling Workshop. My name is Ifunaya, and from today till the 30th of May, we'll be hosting the 30th Career Counseling Webinar. So today we have our panelists here. We have Princess Anya. Is it going live? And we have our principal consultant of Vision 2020, Dr. Ibilola Amao, who is also the principal consultant of Lonadec Inc. She's also here with us today, and she will begin us our welcome address now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ifunaya, for the fantastic introduction. Distinguished members of the Board of Trustees, Vision 2020 Club members, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed youths, in humble gratitude to God, we're online this afternoon for the 15th consecutive year since 2006 to bring the message of the abundance of career opportunities in high technology industries to our youths. We also seize this opportunity to highlight the importance of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, where excellence, innovation, and creativity is much needed to achieve national development and socio-economic transformation. The Vision 2020 Youth Empowerment and Restoration Initiative Program is born out of a conviction of the management and staff of Lonadec Inc. to fill a gap in career counseling, industry awareness, and youth empowerment. We at Lonadec have committed ourselves to act as agents of positive change by partnering with government, private sector, our clients, colleagues, and friends, and family as well, to empower youths and restore hope globally. Commencing from Nigeria, where the abundance of natural, mineral, and human resources has not been of maximum benefit to the masses, we're reaching out to youths all over the world to see this as an opportunity of how STEM and tech can be the much needed game changer that the world requires. In our own systematic way, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic season, we have connected with world-class global players, leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners to speak words of encouragement to STEM and tech talent virtually. Through education, enlightenment, empowerment, engagement, and entrepreneurship, we're hopeful that minds would be liberated as we all connect both virtually and remotely. What a joy to have technology at our disposal. Since 2006, we have been consistent in trying to identify the brightest and best talent who will be driven by passion to transform the narrative of lack, sickness, and poverty into one of abundance and wealth. We see opportunities where others see problems, issues, and challenges. Our Vision 2020 programs focus on excellence in engineering, technology, and innovation, with specific attention to value creation in society. We know that conventional jobs are disappearing and see STEM and entrepreneurship as a gateway to wealth creation. To fulfill the local aspirations of resource-rich emerging economies, youths must be engaged to have a conversion mentality. As we count down to the end of our 15th year program and as we commence with a Project 1000, we encourage STEMpreneurs and techpreneurs to begin to see opportunities along the lines of sustainable development goals and issues and challenges resource-rich emerging economies are faced with. We are working very hard to connect our dots through linking STEM and entrepreneurship with the pressing needs that we can look at the talents, potential, and opportunities and passion of our young ones to be the game changers. This year we have There's Blanchfield, a leading Australian technology influencer, Dr. Pearl Coupe, Princess Anya, Emma Tayo, Mrs. Sheya Folabi, Ronke Onodeko, Boma Bedi Membre, Christiana Imafidon, Emeka Okoye, Paula Kiola, Rebecca Ponton, from Australia, USA, Ghana, the United Kingdom, supporting our youth empowerment initiative. We're very, very pleased to have them on board, and we look forward to an exciting 3 days when we would work tirelessly to empower our young and budding entrepreneurs. As a beneficiary of the mentoring of engineer Dr. Mrs. Shomolu, Vital Voices, We Connect International, IWEC, Johnson & Johnson, Bank of America, the Cherry Blair Foundation, I would like to encourage more people and businesses to give freely of their time and resources to help the next generation channel their energies into more useful causes. As I close, I'd like to appreciate my late father, my family and friends, the staff of Robotic, who have given tirelessly of their time and their resources to make this a reality. To our speakers and distinguished participants from all over the world, I say a big thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedules to join us in empowering our 30th set of Vision 2020 youths digitally, remotely, and virtually. May God bless you all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Mal, for your incredible welcome address. So we're going straight into our program today. We're going to set the context, so careers in STEM. How will technology impact the future? And speaking on that today will be Ms. Princess Anya from Microsoft. So Princess, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me clearly. Can you confirm if you can hear me, please?
Yes, I can, but it's a little bit shaky. I think the network is but yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for confirming that. So today we're going to go into career in STEM and how technology will impact job of the future. In my agenda today, I have 3 major agenda. The first one is industry revolution. The second one is the future work, which will talk about how does the future work looks like, how this impacts us, and what we need to change. Then the last one we're going to talk about is the careers in STEM. We are now at the 4th industrial revolution. The first one started as the manual we all use manual to do our work. Then the second industrial revolutions came about where there is the mechanical, there is machines and all that. From there, we move into the 3rd industrial revolutions where we have the computer. But now we have gone into the computer to the digitalized world, which is now the 4th industrial revolution. However, we can see there is a little, from this, I just want to go a little bit down into the 3rd and the 4th industrial revolutions and just look at the little differences and the comparison between these two. Then in the 4th industrial revolution is largely attributed to digital technology, with the type exploding to the recent year, fueling debate and rapid transformation, business disruptions, and loss of job. So you can see that now there's going to be a whole lot of people losing their job. There is business disruptions and all that because we are in the 4th industrial revolution. So these digital technologies has been in existence for over about half century, but what we have seen of recent is the transitions of these 3rd industrial revolutions into the 4th industrial revolutions. And what it has entailed is that for these 4th industrial revolutions, we have some concerns. And one of the concerns that we have is the digitalizations of the economy. We have people losing their job. There is increment in automation, and there is platform organizations where there is no geographical barrier or anything that will hinder people from working from anywhere globally. You can stay in Nigeria now and work anywhere, or you can stay in another country and be part of the other country in their workforce. So the first of industry for the industry 4. So we are going to look at the 5 phases of this. The first phase that we have seen is the changing of the factory model. Before, the operation has been centralized, but now it has been decentralized. We have seen that the high driven of data within the ecosystem industries, where there is much more data requirements, and people are actually going forth for more information and more knowledge. So, and also there is ownership to renting. What that means is this: people can rent things from different organizations. There's going to be this kind of high collaboration between organizations, between businesses, and between people can easily access their own even employee to other organizations to come and work for them for a period of time and then bring them back. So these kind of things are the things you're going to recently be seeing more of in this new phase of work. Then there is physical to digital capital. So more of having digital capital than having the physical one that we are used to. We can see the high rate at which forex businesses is growing, and we can see that almost everything has been digitalized when it comes to capital. Then there is going to be a change of notion of work, where the routine has collapsed, and now we are looking at people doing things with no routine. Just the organization are looking at you to just do your job. They don't care whether you come in from 8 to 5, but what they know that, oh, this deliverable have to be done and you have to do it. So these are the things we're actually facing recently. And what question we have to ask ourselves is this: what does this future of work look like, and how technology will impact the job? So first of all, we're going to look at the demographic and industry dependence. So each industry is going to depend on each other. There's been increase in value of automation. There's going to be a growth in labor-intensive sector for young demographics, and the focus of countries' comparative advantage. Then another thing we have to look at in this future work is that there's going to be change of phase of career concept. So people are not just going to have job, they're going to be people having career. And there is going to be a long-time learning, because the job you are into require you to learn new technology, to learn new things for you to be on top of your work. So these are the things that definitely is happening in this recent. So what you know yesterday is not enough for you to be competitive in today's work. So you have to really be learning. It's going to be a lifetime learning. There's going to be greater task variety, in the sense that much work is going to be given to each individual to do in this recent time. So because you are expected to know a lot, and you are expected to do more. So this is one of the things that we are going to look at for. Then we have to see that in this future work, there's going to be customized. So more services, there are going to be a whole lot of interpersonal and communication skill, less routine. You have the opportunity to relate with people, not just within your country or within the area where you live, but you have opportunity to globally relate with different people and do businesses, even work for them. So these are the things that this future work has brought to us. Then especially, this future work is actually data driven. So you have to, that's why it's a live learning process. Online work without borders. People can work from anywhere. I've said it severally, and connections and network. So there's going to be a high level of connection. It's easy for you to connect with anybody at any point in any country with this organization, especially the organization that has, because there's definitely going to be no boundary for you to work from Nigeria to maybe US or from US to Nigeria. Definitely everything is now going online. Learning is going online and work is going online. So these are the things that this future work is bringing to us. And we have seen, especially this COVID period, there is a high rate at which there is online work, people communicating differently with people at different countries and different time zones. And these are the things that definitely, if we can call it the new norms, that we are going to see more of it in this future work. Then there are certain set skills that are required for this future work. There has been a study that's been going on and been carried out regarding this. And there are 8 key categories that definitely that we require for us to fit into this future work. One of these is digital skills. So what it means is that people have to know how to use computer, have to know how to use this new technology to better themselves and to better their job, to be competitive in their industries, and also to be competitive also at work. So everybody, it's good that individuals should be to have a digital skills. Another skills that require is analytical skills, because the future calls for individuals to be more analytical, as data provides the means for us to do so many. So because it's not a data, everybody have to be analytical, have your data and are doing. Then another thing is deep domain. We look at this skill set as artificial intelligence, we look at it as coding. Oh, these are things that you will look at as deep domain. That means everything that connects with each organization have to come. There's going to be a connection with artificial intelligence, and there's going to be a connection with coding. Then another thing that's very key, which is not more technical, but is leadership, because the ability to guide people and to influence people in this changing world requires a strong leadership to make it happen. So this is a skill set that actually require even in this period of time. Another skills, the 4th skills that we have to look at, the 5th skills is communication skills. We cannot overemphasize how important that communication is in this present world, especially in this future work as well, because we can be able to carry out effectively our work if we lack a good communication skills. And knowing fully well that the work boundary has been collapsed and we have ability to work with people in different geographical location, different, with all diversity and all inclusions, then there is a need for us to be effectively know how to communicate to different people globally, and to communicate with people, not just people living in Africa, have to communicate with people living in Europe and America and other continents. So there is a need for us to learn, have a good communication skills even at this time. Then the management, there is overreaching ability over the needs to manage people, to manage resources, and to manage time, because you have so much work to do. So you also have to gain that ability to manage, to have that kind of work-life balance lifestyles. So there is a need for you to have the that management skills. Another skill that is very much important is the social attunement. What does that mean? This means that you have to know how to navigate within culture, different culture. You have to be self-awareness, and also have this kind of interpersonal skills and have emotional intelligence to deal with different set of people from different culture. Then adaptability. Like what we're seeing recently, during the COVID period, works are still going on in different organizations, and the routine of work change. Majority of us start working at home, and some people are not used to it. There is a lot of technology that came up. So these are the things that we need. There's a need for you to adapt to what you are used to what is the new norms now. So what the futures, these are the skill set, ability to adapt, because things are going to revolve, things are going to change and they're not going to give you time to really adjust. So you have to be adaptable when there is this quick change in the industry, this quick change in the society. So I'm going to talk about, the next thing I want to talk about is the STEMs, the job in STEMs. We know that STEM is a very good part of is a very good part that people have great job opportunities, especially in these periods of time. There are a lot of AIs and all that. But there are 5 major jobs that I'm going to talk about that really is on a high demand now. And it has been recorded that by 2025, there's going to be 3.5 million STEMs job that is going to be available by 2025. So one of the top jobs that is currently on around the world is software engineer. So if you're in STEM, and software engineer is one of the areas that you have to look into if you haven't thought about it. Statistics is another place because it has been recorded that between 2016 to 2026, there's going to be 33% increase in the demand of statisticians. So people have to, because definitely we are now in a world-driven data world. So definitely people have to think of how to manage their data, how to get more data, how to gather information and all that. And these are the areas that the STEMs also, there is opportunity for STEMs. Another place that is great opportunity for STEMs is data analytics. There's the data science. It has been projected by that in this year 2020 that there are going to be an increase in job on data science from 364,000 to 2,720,000. If you look at it, you find out that there is a huge opportunity there. That means that it has increased especially because of this. So there is a need for us to look towards data analysis and data science because there is a huge opportunity in those areas. Another area that we look at is the mechanical engineer because in my organization, they always say that robot is coming. What does that mean? The mechanical engineers is the one that to couple the robot, to do all to couple all the gadget that requires for this work. So there is a huge opportunity in that area. Then the area that I know that basically in Nigeria that hasn't been tapped, but is a new area is robotic process automation. So robotic process automation is the application of technology aimed at completing basic business processes. So this area has been projected that by 2024 is going to bring about 8.75 billion to the economy. So these are the areas that there are so much opportunities. I know that in many countries that robotic process automation is just a new thing that hasn't started, but it's area that's is the area working in STEM or looking for job opportunity in STEM. These are the area that we have to look at. Let me quickly, this is the last, quickly tell you some of the job opportunities in STEMs, the high demand jobs, the demand job, and the new area of STEMs. So for the STEMs, we have anything related to computer system analysis, computer information, web development, software engineer, data science. These are the areas that there is going to be a very high demand. And there is a demand in electrical engineer, medical science, there is a demand. And we see that demand has a little bit decreased, but there's still a demand in biochemists, biophysics, mechanical engineer technician, and health and safety engineer. But a new area definitely where there are going to be more creations of new jobs is, as I said, is automations and robotic career opportunities. There's also huge opportunity in information security analysis, that's cyber security. So these are the new huge area that there's not much much done in those areas, and also data science and analytics, there is not much done in those areas, and there are huge opportunity for STEM to tap into those areas. So thank you.
Thank you, Princess. Thank you so much for that. So I just wanted to state that if you have any questions, please leave them in the Q&A button below, so that once it's time for the question and answer session, we'll get to you. So thank you, Princess, for that. Next up, we'll be having Mr. Emeka Okoye, who is the CEO of Vicanti Software and CTO and co-founder of Next to Us. He'll be talking about the relevant STEM and tech skills post-COVID-19. Mr. Emeka, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on board with us.
My name is Emeka Okoye. I'm going to talk about opportunities of STEM, especially in this period that a lot of things going on has accelerated or created a kind of evolution for our society. First, we need to understand that all of a sudden biotechnology, that's a technology derived from biology, biological sciences have become very important in our life. Our society is getting more urbanized, so most of the populations are moving to the urban areas, and our urban areas do not have a lot of solutions to some of our problems. Is grappling with a lot of stress, and some of these stress and challenges can actually be dealt with biological sciences. So all of a sudden, biological sciences is becoming very valuable, very lucrative. And it's a place where, people who have interest in biological sciences could build a career on. We have seen the present epidemic, COVID epidemic. So jobs like epidemiologists has become very important. We need scientists who can manage pandemics and epidemics and derive intelligence from it. We live in a data world, so there's so much data. And this data needs to be analyzed, even like the previous speaker has mentioned. Analytical skills are very important. So we need people who can use facilities from machines. So we're talking about using a lot of digital forms to do our work. So digital skills come into place, like coding and data analysis. So that means a lot of work will be done using machines. So we need people who are skilled in understanding how to use digital solutions, so that we can derive value and solve challenges around our society. So a lot of things will revolve around digital skills, data, and then subject areas like I'm just talking about biological sciences. There's so much to do. We need more people to come into developing drugs, converting different forms of matter, like, for instance, producing energy. We live in Africa. Africa has less electricity, for instance. A lot of this electricity could come from clean renewables, which are mostly from the biological side. So we need a lot of skills. We need a lot of knowledge in that area. Then we move into things like in the physical sciences. A lot of like here in Africa, we don't build most of our hardware. So that means there's a big opportunity for us to start developing local competence in creating opportunities out of building solutions from local development of hardware. So we need a lot of physical sciences skills from here, like physics, electrical engineering, electronics, even in mechanical engineering. We should also understand that the core of technologies is around metallurgy, materials, and fabrication. So there's so much that we could do as a point of reference. Have not been fully exploited of the opportunities around the environment. We are surrounded by so much biological life. This is the continent with the highest biological life, and we haven't exploited it. We haven't even shown the world, what we can do from Africa. So opportunities that we have, and we need so much these new opportunities from Africa, turning it into an industry for people. Take for instance, genetics. Okay, let me swing back to biological sciences. So Africans have the most diverse genes, but it has not been exploited in the development of drugs. So most of the drugs in the world has been based on genes of all other nations outside Africa, and rarely has it been on Africa. So there's a big opportunity for genomics, structured biology, for us to understand our genes and use that information to create drugs that will solve problems not only in Africa but in other continents as well. So okay. My video is now, these careers are going to lead to opportunities that will create so much value for a whole lot, both in our locality and beyond. We haven't, unfortunately, we've been too focused on the coding aspect of STEM, rather than spending a whole lot of time on science. Right now, the world needs a lot of science. There's a whole lot of problems that is very obvious. So we need a lot of people who could solve problems. So like I've emphasized, biological sciences this is the century for biological sciences. So we need a lot of people with interests that could see pathway of a successful career based on creating values, creating opportunities for wealth, creating opportunities that could change our society positively. We need to emphasize so much about it. I'm a geologist by training, though I've been in the software industry for the past 25 years. But I could see the opportunity of biological sciences. We need to emphasize so much on it because the world would be better if we had a lot of skill sets coming from there. So there's so much that needs to be done. So, for instance, we are challenged by our climate, our state of climate. And a lot of things that we produce today are destroying our environment. But we need something cleaner. So we need more scientists. Africa presently is having the lowest number of scientists in the world. We don't have enough scientists to create new knowledge that can accelerate our economy. So it's a missing, that's a big opportunity. And people are curious from all over the world to know what can solve challenges around them. So emphasis on and there's so much careers there. So both from the disease side, as we have seen from COVID, just you can see the mistake the world has made on face masks. That's because there have not been enough of research that has gone on the effect of production of saliva from human beings. Face masks was the answer from day one, but we couldn't figure it out. So we need more people there. We need a lot of people in animal sciences. Where in Africa, for instance, there's so much animals around producing all over the places. We don't know what a lot we could do with those things. Yeah, we could convert, animal waste into energy, but there could be other things that could be done with. It's something that beyond Africa. Africa has the largest amount of sand in the world. Sand can be used for all sorts. Where from building powerful structures to creating devices, like from silicon. So we need people that can extract more new knowledge from these and, show the world what we could do and use it also to solve challenges in our environment. Okay, in high demand, we need to start building some of the things that will help us get the best out of our society. So there's so much that needs to be done. So I need to say this last part, I'm a believer that everybody should learn how to code. Everybody needs to learn how to write coding. But we have to be careful that we don't emphasize so much on coding, but also learn other parts of science, okay? Coding can't do so much for us. Most of what we need to do has to come from pure science. And we need to emphasize on skilling on things to do with science. Coding is just going to be a tool for us to get the best out of everything. So I urge that we lay a lot of emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The world in front of us has so much opportunity, and I think we are at a better time where we can take advantage of what is going on and turn it into opportunities. Thank you. Sorry about the technical hitch. I was just trying to figure out a better way to get signal. It's raining around me.
That's okay, sir. No worry. So next up, we have Des Blanchfield. We keep talking about data science and how we need data science and the skills required in data science. The world is going into data. So Mr. Des Blanchfield is going to talk to us about data and how it relates to us in the future. Mr. Des Blanchfield is the Chief Data Scientist and he's the CEO of Social Inc. So welcome, Mr. Des. We can take your session now. Okay.
Thank you so much. Firstly, thank you very much for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure, and congratulations on such an amazing initiative. I think this is very, very exciting, and This is, as everyone has been saying, the future of where we are at. This is how collaboration will work now. This is how people are meeting, and this is how people are working. And thank you, Princess, for the great setup. Your focus on a lot of the data topics was great because it leads into what I'm going to talk about. And Emeka, your conversation around where a lot of engineering that leads to software and data is also a great position for me to build on. So let me just spend 1 minute quickly introducing myself. So my name is Des Blanchfield. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Social. We provide digital and social media services to very large companies like IBM and Intel and AT&T. We help them develop conversations just like this on those platforms for their customers and their integrators and partners. My key role in the business, I have a team that run the company. My key role is Chief Data Scientist, but we'll just talk about data science. And I'll talk about what that actually means in a minute. So I have a team of people that run my company around me, and I'm allowed to focus on what I really love doing, which is working with data and the tools that help us apply data science to the data to find things that give us insights, help us make decisions and well-informed decisions based on the data we analyze. So let me just quickly cover what data science actually is, because it's one of those topics where it's talked about a lot, but it's not always very well defined. So just in 1 minute, data science really describes a fairly fundamental idea that we've been doing for a long time now, but has gotten a very exciting new name since about 2008 when we sort of came up with this phrase called data scientist. But the idea of what data science is about is essentially capturing information, managing the information, processing it in various forms of different ways, providing analysis on that information, and then communicating what we learn about that information. So capturing the information can be anything from looking at information like emails and social media posts. It could be in databases. It could be from cameras. It could be information coming from machinery, cars, airplanes, buses, anything that works with software and hardware that produces some sort of signal or produces data. Data scientists work with ways to capture that data and store it in databases and data warehouses and a whole range of other technologies. Once we capture that data that's produced from all these different types of technologies around us, it could be from smartphones, we look at how we're going to manage and maintain that data and then process it. So we look at how we can clean the data up and make sure that it's good data, that it's validated, and that when we start working on that data, it actually makes sense. So for example, things like date and time, we know that lots of different countries use different formats for the date. It could be year, month, day. It could be month, year, day, or day, month, year. So there are big challenges even on basic things like date of birth. If we are taking a record for some personal information, we can make some big errors if we don't cleanse the data we collect and store and maintain, if we don't just validate even simple things like the dates and date of birth. And it can have all kinds of consequences, because if you get my date of birth wrong, you might think that I'm dead or just born. When we get that data and we cleanse it and we validate it, we look at how can we process that data to find things. And we talk about things like data mining. And in the same way that when we mine in a physical sense in the dirt to find copper and gold and diamonds, when we think about mining data, it's the same thing. We are looking for things in that data that are valuable and that we can use. And once we find things in that data that are valuable and useful, we look at how do we provide some analysis on that data to learn things from it. How do we ensure that we're working with clean copies of the data, unique copies of the data, that we're not looking at the same data twice or three times? And then we look at what we can actually do with that. So for example, if we're talking about information about people, we might want to know whether they're male or female, or they haven't disclosed. We might want to know whether they were born, whether they're alive or dead. We might want to know whether they're working. So there's lots of things we can do with the types of data. When we apply some analysis to that data to find things, the last part of what data science includes is the communication component, which is getting the insights and information we can glean from the data and the analysis we provide, and then sharing that with people. So that can just be basic reports, it could be dashboards, it could be sent in emails, it could even be just raw copies of the data shared with other people who want to do analysis. So those are really the 5 core things that we do in data science. We capture data, we maintain it, we process it, we analyze it, and then we communicate what we find from the analysis. It is a very, very broad topic, and we could almost spend a whole day talking about it. So what I thought I would do is give you some examples of where we actually apply data science to things around us every day. So one of the areas that you'll actually work with data scientists-based technology is simple things like Google and when you search. When you search for a topic in Google, it applies machine learning and basic artificial intelligence to work out what you're searching for and what results to give you. Data scientists work with software engineers to look at the ways to engineer that, finding and discovering and indexing the correct data. So every day that you're searching on the internet, you are effectively working with something that data scientists in part help design. In other areas, we have some of the big industries that Princess talked about in Industry 4.0, when we talk about the world around us. There are some very basic things like health, education, transport, logistics, aviation, even just the cities around us. They all generate data now. Everything's digital or becoming digital. And so we have that problem of lots of data coming into the systems and needing to be captured and maintained and processed, then analyzed and reported on to do things like making decisions on that data. So we glean what we call insights, learning and information from that data. And using those insights, we can then make what we call data-driven decisions. And more we'll find in our lives that we are making decisions like that on a regular basis. So when I go shopping, I might look at the price of things, and then I might decide whether I want the expensive product or the cheap product or just the generic brand that I don't care about because I just want the middle-of-the-road product. When I look at those prices, I'm essentially capturing the data, then I'm processing it in some way and doing some analysis to work out whether I want the cheap or most expensive or just the regular brand. And then I'm deciding how to apply that and choosing the brand I want and whether I want 2 or 3 of them. And that in many ways is some of the most basic data science application you can do on a day-to-day basis, making decisions yourself on data that you come to. At the other end of the spectrum, data science includes things like autonomous vehicles, where they use cameras to collect information about the world around them. They use cameras looking front and back to see what's in front of them and behind them. They use a technology called LiDAR, which is kind of like a scanner that looks at the world around it and creates a 3D world. And then it works out whether it's between the lanes, whether it's inside or outside the edge of the road and the middle of the road, whether the things in front of it, behind it. And so data scientists work with those types of technologies at the other end of the spectrum, where we look at, well, what information can we get from the car and the cameras, from the engine, from the power management system, whether it's petrol or diesel or electric, and how can we help make that car operate better, reduce the amount of petrol or diesel it's using, use more of the charge in the battery, stick to the speed limit, avoid bumping into things. So there are lots of places where we may not realize it, but data science is being applied to information that's coming to us in various forms. And this can operate in a standalone environment where you might just work on a laptop or a desktop computer doing analysis on information that's available to you, like a payroll or something to do with the operation of the business, or as I said, prices, or other engineering areas. Or you might work in a team of people where you break the problem into pieces and someone works on cleaning the data up, someone might work on doing the analysis, someone might do some communication reporting, and then you can specialize in areas. So some people in the data science space are very, very good at capturing and processing data. Some are very, very good at the analysis on the data. Some are very good at the reporting of the data. And so there's a lot of scope for finding an area that you're very interested in. People who are good at communicating might like the communication part of data science. People who are very interested in the numbers and the processing might like to do the analysis of it. And other people who are more interested in the computing side might want to work with the database platforms and the data warehouse engineering of where data science is applied. So there's the standalone environment where you might work as a data scientist with some data yourself and provide some analysis or reporting on it. There's the team environments. And then there are also very large autonomous systems where we build software and systems that can capture the data and analyze it. And when we build tools that can do that, we can automate them. And then we can use those tools to make them available to lots of people. And we see that with things like when you're using social media and it shows you the most popular things that are trending, so that the most important tweets or the most important posts on Facebook. A data scientist has worked with a software engineer to build some models around how the data can be found and stored and presented to you so that you see the most interesting or the most engaged with tweets or the most engaged with things on Facebook, or maybe the things that are most relevant to you. So if you're looking for things around shopping or clothing or cars, it knows that and it applies data science methodologies to show that to you so it's most interesting, or even advertising that's more relevant to you. Let me now talk about some of the ways that you can work in this space. So you can obviously do a number of educational and academic studies around data science and mathematics and engineering that lead you to that. But you can also teach yourself. So there are many places online like YouTube or the Khan Academy or even Wikipedia, and places where you can go and learn about some of these things yourself, and then go to places like github.com or other sites where you can get some of the source code and example data to play with it yourself and actually build your own laboratory on your own computer or one at school or at university and apply some data science. You can then get examples of data sets and examples of code from other data scientists to share it openly in open source, and then repeat their examples and repeat their lab experiments. And if you can get the same outcome, you know it's successful. So you can do an academic path, and you can also at the same time teach yourself. I recommend doing a bit of both, because it's very good to get the formal training and certification, but it's also good to practice yourself in the same way you might if you're a musician and play the drums or the trumpet or the guitar at home. You might have a teacher teaching you the basic reading music and learning the notes, but you'll practice at home. Then there are also community ways. You can join communities online and work with people to work with them and learn from them. There's competitions online. We can join competitions on websites like one called Kaggle, and we can provide some links to those. And Kaggle is a website where data science projects are put online in a competition style, so people kind of game this idea of working on a data science problem with a data set and see who can win and get the answer first or the best answer. There are also things that we call hackathons, which are community groups where lots of people get together and work on interesting problems for social good or commercial outcomes or just interesting projects to solve a problem. And hackathons are good fun now. They're done a lot online, but they're also done in person. So joining hackathons just to experience them and learn, even if you don't participate hands-on, is a good way to network and find people and learn from them. And then just working in spaces where you can contribute your time with an internship or some sort of part-time work in an organization, working with data scientists or people with statistics and analysis who can help you get hands-on and learn and watch them work and learn from them. There are lots of ways to get your career underway. There's lots of ways to teach yourself and join communities, and lots of ways to start your working career. I want to close with a couple of key points on why this is such an exciting area, and I think it's one of those ones where even if you don't become a full-time data scientist, gaining some skills in it is very important because there's a lot of exciting areas. So there's some big things that you're hearing about now, like 5G, the next generation of telecommunications. All of the 5G space will require some sort of data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. So there are so many places you can apply your skills when you become a data scientist or you start working in data science to the space of telecommunications and 5G, managing the signals, signal attenuation, security, Internet of Things, sensors and devices collecting information, whether it's on the side of roads or in security spaces or hospitals, particularly with COVID-19. All the autonomous things like robots, manufacturing, factories, retail, all of these key areas that we see that we talk about in our day-to-day lives are now requiring data scientists to apply data science methodologies to learn things from the data, figure out how to make the data valuable, and whether it's to reduce costs in producing things or making things cheaper to sell, making things cheaper and faster, making them available to the right market. There are all these spaces where 5G and IoT, retail, transport, logistics, aviation around cars, trains, ships, robots, drones, factories, mining, manufacturing, supply chain, really exciting places where you might think that data and data science wouldn't apply. We're now finding that companies are looking to apply data science to places they haven't thought of before because they're learning ways to run their business better, work with their staff better, help their customers get better outcomes, and just make life better in general for society. And that's before we talk about social activity around, not-for-profit and human sciences and medical sciences. And the last thing I want to leave you with before I run out of time is I invite you to just start. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't how big you tackle it. Whether you just Google it online and start reading, join conversations online, follow hashtags on Twitter, join meetup groups, go to a community group somewhere in your area, dial into Zoom conversations, watch stuff on YouTube. Just get started, because the first step you take is the step down the journey towards data science, even if you don't go into that career path just understanding it. As soon as you start participating, as soon as you join the conversation, the sooner you'll start to actually get comfortable with the idea and learn from other people, and then share your ideas. So hopefully you've got a general sense of data science and why it excites me. I literally jump out of bed every day for it. It really excites me because it makes a very big difference in the world around us, and when it's applied appropriately in a managed, controlled way, not only is it an exciting career path and a job to have, but it also is an exciting growth space for organizations of any type. And it's definitely part of our future. There will never be a time where data science is not now going to be required in any type of organization in societies around us. And they're very well-paid jobs, and you can focus on very niche areas, or you can work on very broad areas. And generally, it's just a lot of good fun if you're interested in data and engineering.
That's very, very insightful. And I think a lot of statisticians, mathematicians, scientists, technologists, and engineers will be able to key into the joy, the art, and the science of data science. And I like the communication part of things. So there's scope and room for everyone. Mariam, thank you so much. I met Mariam on the panel of judges of the Royal Academy of Engineers Africa Prize. Mariam is an awesome lady who's done so much for young talent, refugees, Africans, and she's a global enigma in the area of empowering people in coding. I Am the Code is one of her initiatives, and she's going to be speaking to us right now after a brief introduction. Mariam is talking about the future of coding. Thank you so much, Mariam, for taking time out of your very busy schedule. I know how busy you are. So the floor is yours now. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored to participate in anything that is elevating young women and girls, but also boys across the world. And I'm glad that we have the people I really admire in the industry, Emeka and Mr. Blanchfield. So thank you so much for having me. So I'm just going to do a very quick, I'm going to share my screen because I like to visualize things. And because we are in a virtual world, I want to show you something very practical and why I think the future of coding is really important. And I'll share my screen now, and I will not take long. So I'm going to just share my screen. So my name is Mariam Jam, as Doctor just said. So I'm from Senegal. That's where I was born. So not far from Nigeria. We always have problems with Nigerians because they stole our intellectual property, the jollof rice. So I don't like Nigerians that much. So don't take me into it. So but I live in the UK now. So this is where I was born. But I want to give you a little bit of perspective of why am I so passionate about coding. But before I learn how to code and before I become a coder, what's happened. And then this is going to be very important for the next 10 years moving forward. And as Des was saying, I think about time, I think about 10 years, I think about decades. So what's happening, 10 years from now, what will happen? And so this is me when I was young. Most of you probably have heard my story or have read it somewhere. So I was born in Senegal, and at the age of 5 years old, our mother abandoned us as children. I've got a twin brother who lives in Germany today. And so I've never been to school. I'd never sat in a classroom. I didn't have the opportunity to study. So I couldn't read and write until I was 16 years old. So I didn't have a formative education at all. And that has really affected me as a young girl growing up in Africa. And when I was 13 years old, I was trafficked from Senegal to France. So I had a terrible childhood, really difficult upbringing in my life. So this has created a drive and a passion about my life and what I do globally. So now, like I said, I live in the UK, and and the reason why I like to show this slide all the time is because the UK has really created a safe space for me where I can sit down and think and code. And today I'm a full stack developer. I spend my time building software solutions for companies. So I run a private sector. I also run a non-for-profit organization, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So my company, what we do, we sell software solutions. So we work with editors and vendors, like big software companies. For example, an organization that will say a supply chain management software, or an organization that will say that will, for example, sell AI solutions. So we work with them and we sell their solution to government, private sector, and investors. So that's my day-to-day job. And then I have people working for us all around the world, and this is really what pay my bills. But I've been thinking very much so in tech industry for a very long time. I've been working on it for nearly 20 years now. And I've been thinking on how do you make sure that the average person, the marginalized communities, have also access to what I had in my local library in Guildford. And so that's what my drive into doing a little bit of social impact, but also helping people to get what they need so they can also thrive in the world. And then through my research and my thinking for many decades, and thinking about marginalized communities, reskilling people, making sure people get dignity and pride, but also get skills. I believe that if you don't have the skills, no matter what we say, when you don't have skills, you don't have money. When you don't have money, you can't be proud of yourself or do the things you need. So people need skills. And then through my connection and my network, I created I Am the Code. I believe that I am the code because of my tenacity and my drive across the world. But I also combine it with coding because I love coding. Because I couldn't read and write, I had to go and find something relevant. And I think that's what Des was saying, really kind of like, really, I like that, because you need to have a relevance right now in the market. In the next 10 years, some of the relevance in your career will be learning coding. And I will go through what coding means and why it's important to learn how to code. And I don't also want you to just stay in the world coding, because I don't want to stop you, thriving in your career as well. And so I Am the Code is recognized by the United Nations. So we are the first African organization recognized by the UN because of our methodology and the simplicity of the work we do. The way we teach people how to code. We have our own computer kit. It's based on Raspberry Pi. I can show you one in a minute. And so it's really basic, but people are learning very key coding skills. And the reason why I want to insist on this is because we need to also start thinking about how do we teach our people skills. And this is not just Africa, it's a global problem. When we're looking at skills, we need to look at industries. What does Africa need right now? Do we need data scientists? Absolutely. Do we need people who understand Excel, PowerPoint presentations, real skills that the continent need? Because you cannot become a data scientist if you don't know the basic fundamental of mathematics or physics, or if you don't even know how to use Excel. So we need to be also very practical and realistic in when we're teaching people what we want them to learn. That's why I Am the Code is now in 68 countries. It's the first African organization to have a ground in 68 countries. And we have trained just under 4 years, 18,000 girls to learn how to code. And we have volunteers, and we have organized so many events. So before COVID-19, I was in Kakumo refugee camp in Kenya, where I was teaching young women and girls design thinking and how we can help them participate into the global workforce. I Am the Code has got 4 really amazing pillars, and this is very focused pillars. We do a lot of hackathons, a lot of digital clubs. I believe in hackathons, and they're just not, our hackathons are not just your usual hackathon. They're hackathons where we create synergy between companies and the marginalized girls. Usually the marginalized girls and boys, they don't have access to big companies. So we create a connection so they can also feel proud and dignified as well. I think technology needs to bring dignity in people's life. We also have a lot of data. I'm a very data freak. I like to measure impact and how things work, not just talk about it. And that's why Emeka and I have been working for a very long time now in really educating our people. When we say we're going to teach 1 million women and girls how to code, we absolutely mean that. And we know how to measure it. And at the end, you'll see exactly what we've done. So understanding how data works is really important, because data gives you credibility, but also it helps people understand what you're talking about. We also have now well-being clubs where we're taking care of the mental health of young women and girls and boys across the world. Because the technology world is creating crazy people. It's creating discomfort. It's creating people who want to do so many things at the same time. And we need to make sure we slow down and take care of our mental health. Because if you don't have a very good mental health, you cannot benefit companies and you cannot benefit yourself. And we have mentors. So that's why we create mentorship programs where people are mentoring young girls and boys across the world. Sharing, connecting people with people, because it's not everyone who has got connections like us. It's not everyone who's a young global leader. It's not everyone who has got access to people. So sharing our connections and introducing people, that also is something we're trying to do at I Am the Code. So connecting with people that can help you in your work. I have a purpose in life, and my purpose is to make sure by 2030, I've got 1 million women and girls to learn how to code. And I know how to do this. And one of the things, I had a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine. In life, you need to know what you're good at. My principle in life, everyone asks me, how come you do what you do this way? I do 4 things every single day when I wake up. And this has been my principle since I was in Japan 12 years ago. Every single day when I wake up, I ask myself, what can you do? What are you good at? And we need to also, when we talk about the future of coding, we need to help people to understand what you're really good at. Number one, you need to think about that. What am I really good at? Number two, do I love what I do? Absolutely. I absolutely love coding. I love spending time learning how to code. And the number three is, does the world need this? Does the world need what you're actually doing right now? If the answer is yes, absolutely go for it. And can I be paid for it? And so, because we all need to be paid and get money. So that's my purpose in life. That's what I set myself to do. I'm 45 years old now, so I'm an old woman. And so my purpose is to get 1 million women and girls how to code, as I said earlier. And so now I'm going to go I'm going to go to why I think teaching young women and girls how to code is really, really important. And we need to think about this in a way. It's not just coding, sitting on a computer, talking to computers. That's not what I mean. And so our girls are, they have this computational thinking. So I put computational thinking in the mind of young women and girls globally. Because once you understand how to decompose information, you know exactly how to take information and decompose it. And it's not just go in and say, I'm a coder, but you actually need to understand how to decompose information. If I give you something very specific, how can you decompose that? So that's what I mean by coding personally. And this is what I try to give to young women and girls. So when you see our videos and the girls, the way they are, they have changed from shy girls to extremely smart girls. And we don't just talk about STEM subjects, we talk about STEAM. And I've been talking about this for 10 years now. People have taken the term now. But I added, through STEM, I added art and design. I believe young women and girls need to look into the art and the design. You need to think about design thinking. So we teach design thinking to our young women, our young girls as well. And when I say about, when I talk about coding, again, is about understanding what is abstract and what is not abstract. Going into the computer, yes, it's good to go and talk to the computer, but coding for me is a way of teaching, a computer how to do something through a specific language. But also when you go into coding in the future, you don't want to just like, I'm a coder like we do in Africa in some countries, but you want to say, I want to get into a specific industry. As Emeka was saying, I want to get into the health industry. I want to become a biotech person and I want to become a coder for that reason. Or I want to become a data scientist. I want to talk to machines. I want to do artificial intelligence or augmented reality. So I want to get into this coding industry for that reason. So the future of coding will be very specific, not just, kind of like vague. So think about that as well. And so this is our girls we have in Kakuma refugee camp. The refugees in Kakuma, amazing girls who are living tough lives, but they are really amazing young women and girls. And I go there and teach them how to code. So they are making right now, they're creating applications. They are thinking about different industries, the hospitality industries. They're thinking about so many industries that, I know the world will need these girls in the next 10 years. I just know it. And so we also teach girls in Japan. I Am the Code is the only organization in the world, an African organization teaching Japanese girls and Chinese girls how to code. No one has ever seen this. Again, that's why we need to be proud also. The future of coding is not just Africa, it's not Japan, it's not just China, but it's global. Technology is global. And I'm sure you have seen my videos, on TED and other organizations saying this. Technology has no gender, no age, and there's no class. I was born in Senegal from an aristocrat family, but technology doesn't have to be nothing to do with that. You can be born from a big family, but learn how to code. As long as you have a computer, internet, and you have the software languages, you can actually do it by your own self. So when you're thinking about coding, don't think, oh, my friend can do that, I can't do that. So you can do absolutely anything you want with the coding languages. Start with HTML, start small, don't go and get crazy, start doing something very small. I started, for example, with Excel in my local library. I loved Excel. I loved numbers and symbols. I started doing that, and then I went to HTML. And when I knew how to do HTML, I went to start doing Python, and then start doing CSS, and then start doing slowly Ruby. And then, slowly, I learned 7 coding languages in 2 years because I wanted to step by step. I didn't go crazy doing everything at the same time. But I also wanted to find what was relevant in the industry at that time. So in that time, Google wasn't born. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have all of these social media. And I wanted to learn HTML so I can blog on Google. And my first ever blog was addressed to Bob Geldof and Bono. I'm sure you have seen that. I'm very controversial sometimes. And I wanted to write them a blog about Africa. So that was my first blog. And I used HTML to actually do that. And so we have girls in Brazil, we have girls in Dadaab. So like I said earlier, I go to refugee camps where I teach young girls very, very specific skills. So this is the girls in Dadaab. Dadaab is a refugee camp, not far from Kenya, but it's like, it's a crazy place. There are over 200,000 people lives in that camp. In 97% is from Somali. So we have, as we talk about technology, we also need to think about the people we're trying to serve. There are so many people who don't have access to technology. For example, right now, 743 million girls are out of school because of this COVID-19. So when we're thinking about the future of coding, we also need to think about these people, because at the end of the day, they're part of us and we need to think about them as well. So we have volunteers all around the world, and they are from Brazil as well. So these are young girls in Kakuma refugee camp. They are just amazing young women and girls who are thinking differently. And I think they should be part of the global workforce. When I'm thinking about the future of coding, and I'm thinking about these girls, because these girls will be sitting down doing, data entry. They will become, they will look into, augmented reality. They will look into AI, because as long as they can input data somewhere, clean the data, they can have an opportunity in life, 100%. But we must not forget them, because they come from a hardship background and they come from a poor background. We need to include everyone. Technology must be inclusive, not exclusive. Those are girls in Brazil. So we also work with young girls who are coming from difficult backgrounds, really difficult backgrounds, and we try to uplift them so they can have a place in society. I personally believe the education of young girls, need to be, is an investment. We need to start investing in young women and girls. I can't talk about the future of coding without including young women and girls, and boys as well. Now we work with boys. So we need to really think about big, and ambitious goals, and invest in young women and girls and give them the skills they need. That's why we have I Am the Code Wellbeing, as I mentioned earlier. The well-being of young women and girls is my priority right now. I want to make sure the global workforce of tomorrow include healthy young women and boys who can participate into the global workforce. There's no point teaching girls how to code if their well-being is no point doing it. That's why we talk about the mental health right now as well. Again, I'm going to just talk about the women and skills. The skills I'm talking about here is we need to reskill women and girls and boys across the world. The future of coding, we need to reskill people. It's not everyone who's going to become a coder, but we need to think about the solution the world needs tomorrow. Our goal is to get 1 billion people to be reskilled by 2030. Are they going to all become coders? I don't think so. But can they really be part of, data entry people, scientists? Can they do something around augmented reality, which is one of my big things right now? Maybe, who knows? But we need to think about big and bold ambitions across the world. COVID-19 is, Dr. Abiola just said that earlier. I sit with her on the Africa Prize. The COVID-19 must not stop you moving forward. It's just limitations. You need to really start thinking about post-COVID-19, what would I do? It's an amazing time for you to sit down and slow down and kind of like write everything down. Do I want to become a coder? Yes. Am I going to spend 6 months learning how to code? Absolutely. What do I want to learn how to code for? Mariam said, need to be really good at something. Try to be good at something. Ask yourself, does the world need what I'm doing? If that's a yes, absolutely said. And she also said, can I get money out of this? Ask yourself those questions. And the fourth point is think about, am I really, 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 really good at this? You need to think about this. Absolutely, 100% think about this. And you are the only limitation right now for yourself. So think about the future of coding and how you can do that. And lastly, we have podcasts, we are making sure we're using analog, that girls and boys across the world have access to information. Information is power. Once you have information in your head, I have information. That's why I am like this. When I was growing up, I did not have PhD. I don't have MBAs. I don't have any degree all of these people have. But one thing I have in my brain is information. And I think in a very specific way, decomposition, taking the information, decode it in a way it can get into my brain and I can transfer that to other people. So think about the future of coding as exactly that. The computer will do exactly what you ask him to do. So if you want to become the instructor, you be very clear in how do you instruct people. we can transform lives. This opportunity for me to be part of this webinar is really amazing. I like sharing information, but I also like being specific and pragmatic in how things will work. So I'm going to give you 4 things that you can take, what I think the future of coding will be. I'm going to stop this presentation and give you exactly what I think the future of coding will be. I'll stop sharing now. So what I think, and I want you to take some notes and really write it down. What I think the future of coding is, programming will be more abstract. So when I say programming languages, for example, programming, Python and programming Java, it will be more abstract. There'll be more art included. So when you're thinking about the future of coding, add art into it, the arts. Go and Google art. ARTS. It's really important. You need to add that, because more you think about art artistically, the more you become more passionate, and it's beautiful what you do. Coding is like art, in my view. Designing beautiful websites, designing things that people like using. You all like using WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook because it's designed and coded in a way everyone can use it. So think about art. Front end, back end. Sometime, maybe in the future, back end people will have more money than the front end people. But I think front end UX designers will also have more money than the back end people, because most of this back end can be now automatized, robotized, and so it's going to be much, much easier. There'll be less coding, but more automatic things going on. Number 2, AI will become part of every developer toolkit. Artificial intelligence is going to become really, really important. So maybe start thinking about data as Mr. Blanchett always said earlier. Think about data. How can I use data to start learning about skills? Data. Don't just go into the data world, data, because right now I hear people talk about data, but go and decode what artificial intelligence means. What sort of job can I have around that? And then the third bit, universal programming language will be big. You need to start English and learn different skills. There will be a universal language. Who knows? There are creators and inventors all around the world. And if you are based in Nigeria or based in Kenya or based in Senegal, you know that there are developers, and the tech ecosystem of Africa is growing. So one day we're going to have people developing solutions. Right now, we have amazing Africans developing solutions, and they're getting money for it. So think the future. And lastly, every developer will need to work with data. I cannot emphasize on this enough. Data is absolutely important, but don't just stuck in the data conversation. Try to move from, do I want to become a data scientist? What is my data job? Do I want to become an AI person? Yes. Can I get a job around AI? And you can do this by sitting home, by the way. You don't need to go and do it. And post-COVID-19, many people will work from home. So start learning, using your time right now, rather than spending your time on Facebook, wasting time. Go and learn a specific skill. Join I Am the Code, and we give courses for free. You can do this within 6 months, get your certificate, and then be part of the global workforce. I'm going to just conclude in saying, for me, coding is decomposition. You need to start decomposing the information. You need to also understand patterns. You need to start understanding the patterns. That's what coding is, in my personal opinion. And you also need to understand abstractions. Don't just go into abstract, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but understand how the computer works. How does it work? And lastly, algorithms. Algorithms are equal data. Data is going to be, is the oil. You have heard it every time. There are so many slogans out there. Data is the new oil. Data is the new this. It's true. If you don't understand data, you are out of this world. And this is true. In the next future, your data is being sold right now through COVID-19. When you're sleeping, your data is being used. So try to be the owner of your own life, but also the owner of your own data. My life is data. I was data in the 1980s. That's why you see all these slogans, 1 million this, 70 this, blah, blah, blah. All of this data, no one have verified, but it does sell, it does work. So in conclusion, thank you for having me. Make sure you remember what I said. You are data. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miriam, for that. That was I learned a lot from your session. Thank you so much. I would like to say that, please, if you have questions, please leave them in the Q&A box below so that we can get to your questions. Finally, we're going to have Emma tell you to tie everything down into one. So we're talking about coding, data, we're talking about the future of science, STEM, technology. So what courses or what degrees can we pursue to get these skills? And Emma Tayu is the West African Regional Manager of the International Office at the University of Nottingham. She's based in Ghana at the moment. So she's going to tie this whole session together into one. Thank you, Emma, for coming on to this session. You can take the lead now. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And thanks once again for inviting me. I have a few slides, so I will share my screen. And I hope this will be useful. What I wanted to do was to kind of place where universities are in terms of this conversation and what can help you as you're considering your different study options. So first of all, in terms of the University of Nottingham, we are a large international university. So we have our main campus in the UK, and we also have campuses in China and in Malaysia. And I think that that gives us a unique insight into actually what the needs are around the world. The building that you see in the center of this image on the China campus was the first zero carbon building that was built in China. At the time, many of the Chinese workers on this, were grappling with the concept of it being zero carbon. But actually what we've seen in China today is that there are many, many more of these buildings in China than perhaps in the UK. So looking at our global footprint does also help us in terms of what we do and how we do it. So what we've heard from the different speakers so far is that we know that the careers of the future, and especially if you're interested in kind of where science and technology are going to be key, it's that we're moving into this age of information. So this is everything that we've heard about data. How do we collect data? How do we analyze it? How do we make it useful? Universities themselves are currently switching to much more blended learning, use of online, and we need web developers, we need people to be able to help actually those lecturing to get that information across in a way that is accessible. So that information kind of overload, or how we use it, is only going to become more and more relevant. We've also touched on medical innovation, whether this is imaging, whether this is the use of science and technology to develop new cures, whether it's DNA sequencing. So again, this is an area where you can only expect to see more and more innovation happening. The final area is kind of around energy and sustainability. Our global population is growing. Climate change is a very big issue, and there are lots of scientists that are looking to see how can we do everything in a way that is more efficient. And so everybody that is looking at, I saw somebody talking about automotive engineering, is going to be how do we use electric cars. So as a university, we have these beacons of excellence. And this is our way as an institution of looking into the future. What do we do our research in? What do we teach? What is the world going to need? And if you look across the 6 different beacons that we have, you will see that technology, science is relevant in every single one. Future food, how do we design crops that need less rain because of climate change? How can we make sure that the yield is greater? The Rights Lab, we have a lot of people from the business school working on this, looking at data. How can we analyze where people are moving? Are there people being trafficked? Can we analyze that data to actually assist law enforcement agencies, all the way through to precision imaging, propulsion futures, green chemicals, and smart industrial systems. Again, this is looking at artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things. So these are the different areas that we as an institution are focusing our research efforts, and also where we're focusing our teaching as well. And what you'll see is that courses will develop. You might be thinking about what you would like to study today, or you might be looking ahead for in 3-4 years' time. And don't be surprised if you see courses evolving, new courses being introduced. So as a university, the things that we do, as I've mentioned, is to teach and to research. And it might be that you would like to be involved in the research one day. You might want to be in industry. And we do a lot of collaboration as well with the people that are going to apply the technology that has been found through our research lab. So I just wanted to give an example of one of our research labs, and this is the computer vision laboratory. And so this is hosted by the School of Computer Science, but they're actually working with people from different departments across the university as well. So they're looking at image manipulation, image analysis, and then also looking at machine learning. And the images you can see here, you have real world photos of different faces. Then you have the computer learning to recognize that this is a human being, this is somebody that's sitting, this is somebody that is moving, or this is somebody's face. What is their face doing? So we're teaching the computer to learn, you know, is this somebody that is happy? Is this somebody that is sad? And this week we were really proud to see one of our research fellows, Dr. Joy Agide, who is actually from Nigeria, winning the UNESCO Women in Science Rising Talent Award for computing. And her work is training computers to recognize what infants are feeling. So if we're looking at babies' faces, can we tell when they're feeling pain? So this is something that right now is being done at a university level, but at some point in the future, we hope that this might lead to that medical innovation that I've spoken about, but you see the crossover with data as well. So in Joy's case, she did a first degree in computer engineering at Covenant University in Nigeria, and then she did her MSc at the UK campus in information technology, and then she did her PhD in computer science, and that she was on the China campus before staying on as a research fellow. So I think this gives you an example of how somebody's study journey could have started. She was saying more computer engineering, but you've seen where she's ended up here. She's actually looking at applications that will have medical benefits as well. So I think what we have to think about is actually that there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of creative problem solving. How can we use people from different disciplines to solve these different problems? So we have far too many disciplines to kind of go through them one by one, but I wanted to share 2 of our YouTube channels. I think some of the other speakers also mentioned that you can start today just to kind of dip your toe in, see what you're interested in, see how that fits with your strengths. These are 2 YouTube videos that university staff manage that both have over 1 million subscribers. So we have Computer Files. So this is from School of Computer Science. And they're looking at those different applications of coding, what are the different problems that we might have. So there's one that they put up recently on the video conferencing problem, you know, and so that's very relevant. I think today everybody's using video conferencing. And then from the School of Chemistry, there's the periodic videos, which if you are still in secondary school, you're taking chemistry as a subject, you might find that this will bring some of the elements that you're actually learning about to life. They have some really exciting videos that you may not be able to recreate at home, but will give you a better understanding of what you're learning. So these are things you can access today from your home just by looking up these channels on YouTube. If you are interested in the courses themselves, the best thing really is to visit the website. And I think this is true for every other university out there. I can't list them all. We have hundreds of courses at the undergraduate level, at the postgraduate level. And if you do visit our website, what you can do is you can search. So you can put in data, you can put in engineering, you can put in artificial intelligence, And then you can see the different courses, what the content will be like, and use that as a way to, again, test the water. Is this something that I'm passionate about? Do I have the right skills to be able to learn this? The key thing, I think, is about the aptitude to learn, the willingness to learn. I think Mariam's story is really inspirational. She was able to apply that eagerness to learn to then be able to become a master of something. So don't think that I've never studied computer science before, I'm therefore not going to do it. If you're somebody that is interested in numbers, you're interested in how we translate, how we develop the technology around us, by all means explore it, and you might find that you too can also excel in that area. So we also have an active and engaged careers team, and so for many of our courses in science, engineering, computer science, you can also look at internships and work placements that are set up for you during the course of your study. So again, if you're looking at universities, ask these questions. What relationships do you have with industry? How can I gain work placements if I also study with you in this particular discipline? So I know many students are kind of questioning, okay, what about funding? And again, if you visit our website, I'll give you the link for Nigerian students at the very end. We have various scholarship schemes, and we do partner with other external bodies. But I think out of the UK universities, we have one of the largest internal scholarship funds that support students, especially at the master's and the PhD level. And so if you do want to learn any more, you want to get my contact details, then the URL that's at the bottom of the screen there, www.nottingham.ac.uk/go/Nigeria, will give you all of the information there in terms of accessing our courses, what's available, links to our different social media channels, and so on. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you so much for your session. We have a few questions here for some of our panelists. The first question is, what are the opportunities available for computer hobbyists who isn't sure he wants to learn programming for job seeking yet? Do you also teach system programming? So I don't know who this question, Mr. Olamileko. Is there anybody you were targeting this question to? Yeah. Another question is, I saw somebody asking Mariam, how can someone join I Am the Code? Is there a fee attached to this to join? So to join I Am the Code, what are the things required, and how much does it cost to join? This is coming from Kende Olajide.
I Am the Code is absolutely free, so no one pays anything. It's absolutely free, and education is expensive, and I don't want people to pay for it. But I'm sure Emma will probably disagree with that. Education is good; you can pay for it, but we have decided to give everything for free. So you can join I Am the Code anytime. You know, and we have people in Nigeria, so wherever you are in the world, just let us know. But I Am the Code is absolutely free, and all of the content we have, we designed it so it can be accessible. We have amazing partners, and sometimes we partner with universities to give content for free. We realize that not everyone, unfortunately, will be able to pay for the education. So we wanted to make sure that people have access to it. It's a very tailored education. We have 5,000 modules from Coursera for free. So if you want to learn about AI or machine learning, just let us know. But our platform is absolutely free.
Thank you, Mariam, for that. We also have a couple of questions that Mr. Des Blanchfield had already answered. So thank you, Mr. Des, for that. We have another question from someone who is asking, what is the difference between programming and coding? I think, Mariam, you would answer that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes it's just in the semantic, the coding. That's why I don't want people to get stuck into that. So coding, as I just said to you earlier, is giving instruction to to computers and telling the computer what to do, which is it's a way of teaching the computer and saying. The computer, can you do this? And the computer answer. But programming is based on the language. So, for example, a Java or Code or Python or Ruby. So those are programming languages, and you need to, sit down and actually program something. Programming something means that you have to get a result at the end. It's just like coding, but coding you're mainly giving instruction to something very specific. And programming, you are programming a website, for example, or programming a solution, or programming a biotech, solution, or creating a wireframe for something to happen. There's a result at the end. So that's the difference. That's how I interpret it anyway. But I do more coding, building websites, more coding. So my forte, for example, I don't know all the coding languages, but my basic coding language is Java and C++, and I also use sometimes Python. And Ruby, for example. It depends if I'm building a BBC iPlayer, or if I'm building a website for Mark & Spencer, or if I'm building a e-commerce site, for example. I do different stuff. And so I have got colleagues who are really good at programming, for example. And then I'm a back end, but back end, not like a super back end, but I'm I can do, but also I'm very I check details. I'm very detail oriented. So if you're thinking about programming and coding, you need to think about that as well. But they all come together. And if you are working in a big dev team, you'll have people who are really good at programming and people who are really good at coding.
Thank you so much, Miriam, for that. I don't think we have any more. So someone is asking, where do we join I Am the Code? Where can they join I Am the Code?
They can join iamthecode.org, or they can email us. It's not a problem. So you can go on Instagram, on Facebook. We have I Am the Code in Nigeria. It depends where you are. We're in 68 countries. So it depends where you are. If you are in Nigeria, let us know. But you can just go to iamthecode.org, join our Facebook, or just email me. It depends what you want to do. If you want to get our courses for free, I'm happy to send you login details. We have access to 5,000 modules from 190 Ivy League universities around the world, and the University of Nottingham is actually part of it. So they give free courses sometime to people. So just send me an email. I'm happy to help.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you, everyone, for being part of this 30th Career Workshop. Dr. Amal would be giving the closing remarks now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ifunanya, for supporting us. And I want to say a big thank you to the Lonadec and the Vision 2020 team back in Nigeria who have put this together. I can't thank Des Blanchfield enough. Emma Tayu, I can't thank you enough. Emeka Okoye, thank you so much for your support. Mariam, thanks a billion. I need to say a big thank you to Princess from Microsoft. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. Today's event is about science, technology, engineering, and maths. We continue tomorrow's journey with the leadership aspect of opportunities for STEMpreneurs, techpreneurs, and jobs in the future, jobs of the future. And on Saturday, the grand finale will be around entrepreneurship. Please connect with us on the Vision 2020 Youth Empowerment and Restoration Initiative. I'm hoping we'll see the website and the social media links on the screen. It's a career counseling, industry awareness, and youth empowerment initiative, which commenced in 2006, initiated by the staff and management of Lonadec Global Services. Since 2006, we have empowered over 98,000 youth in STEM-focused careers. We work with schools, we work with career counselors, science, technology, engineering, and maths, passionate individuals, and we collaborate with our clients, our partners, our family, friends, to make such occasions as this happen. So today we've had a contribution from Australia, from the UK, from Ghana, from Nigeria. Thank you so much, everybody. And we look forward to you joining us tomorrow. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon. Stay safe, keep safe, and we hope to see you tomorrow.